Hey, John here. I'm the animator behind 16-Bit Scenes. An endgame 16-bit scene remake seemed inevitable. Shortly after the Aquaman 16-bit scene dropped, James, Kenny, and I had a couple of discussions about what to tackle next, and I made sure that my schedule was clear for Endgame, knowing absolutely nothing about the plot of the movie. After Endgame came out, oh boy, it's got no shortage of scenes to pick from. There are a couple of scenes that probably would have been way easier to do, but when talking about possible candidates, I always advocated for this one, because the portal scene is by far my favorite scene in the movie. And after that was a go, I briefly stepped back and I asked myself, am I insane? Do you know how many characters that scene has? But the whole undertaking was actually surprisingly smooth. Since I started making 8-bit and 16-bit videos, my process has changed a lot. It's always improving, and I feel like I would not have been able to animate a video this ambitious a year ago. I could go deep into my process, but that could easily get bogged down by so many technical terms that it would sound like I'm not even speaking English anymore. So instead, since this video looks like the endgame video game that doesn't exist, I thought I would talk about this video's connections to real existing Marvel games that you can play right now. Even though this video is a remake of two scenes from Endgame, it has a lot going on underneath the surface. I think it's very satisfying to weave something new out of the DNA of something old. Captain America and the Avengers is an arcade game from 1991 that I have a lot of fondness for. I played it on an arcade cabinet as a kid, and I've been basing Marvel-related videos on it since 2015. For this video, it actually probably would have been easier to just use the existing video game graphics, but I wanted this endgame video to be special, because if there was any movie to go all out on, it was this one. So I kind of went the extra mile. I completely redesigned all of the main characters from the ground up to more accurately reflect how they appear in the movie. I still based most of the animations on the arcade version of the game, except for the ones that I had to make from scratch, because this move is definitely not in the arcade game. For the new character designs, I used color palettes taken from various Super Nintendo games, like the Super Nintendo port of Captain America and the Avengers, and for Thanos from Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems. I tried to keep it pretty consistently Super Nintendo for this one. I'm not that big of a fan of Capcom's Marvel character designs, and they simply would not have worked for this video. They're a little bit too large, except Thanos. His size in War of the Gems actually completely works. It lines up pretty well with the characters from Captain America and the Avengers. He actually might be a little larger than he is in the movie, but there is no such thing as too big for a video game boss. Even though I'm not really a fan of how the characters look, the level artwork for War of the Gems is actually pretty incredible. So I tried to include some of the original levels from War of the Gems in the portals at the end, incorporating elements like Alaska's snow, or the Amazon's river, or the fish in the Boston Aquarium. Yeah, I don't know why that's a location in the game either. The dialogue box is based on Adam Warlock's dialogue box from War of the Gems. When it's a speech bubble, that's based on the character indicator from the X-Men arcade game. A lot of characters have appearances that carry over from other times they've appeared in projects I've worked on. Spider-Man's appearance in this video carries over from the 16-bit scenes for Infinity War. His animations in those are based on the original Spider-Man movie tie-in for the Game Boy Advance. More often than not on this video, I just ended up redoing characters from scratch because I wasn't happy with how they looked. Black Panther, Okoye, Doctor Strange, and Mantis all got facelifts. After making these for 4 years, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that no matter what sound you use, somebody is going to recognize it. So this time around, I tried to take extra care to make sure that the sounds I used were from games that were more relevant. I extracted, listened to, and labeled all the sound effects from the following Super Nintendo games. In no particular order: Captain America and the Avengers, Marvel Superheroes, War of the Gems, Spider-Man, X-Men, Mutant Apocalypse, Spider-Man and the X-Men in Arcade's Revenge, Spider-Man and Venom, Maximum Carnage. I still used a little bit of Zelda here and there, but the bulk of the sound effects are from Marvel Super Nintendo games. Where Captain America says, "Avengers Assemble!" That line is taken from the original arcade game. It's very hard to convey emotion with 16-bit characters. Look at that. That isn't subtle at all. So that's why music is an essential part of these 16-bit scene remakes. The video just never feels entirely complete without it. The Portals scene has some of the best music in the whole movie. Part of why I wanted to do this scene was so I could hear Kenny's version of it. And if you've seen the remake of the end of Infinity War, his music for that is just so spot on. It might even be the part of this project that I look forward to the most. Kenny's an amazing composer. He does a lot of great stuff. Definitely check him out. I enjoyed Endgame a whole lot. So when making this video for Mr. Sunday, my main goal was to make a video that I felt was worthy. In many ways, I surprised myself by what I was able to pull off in this video, and it ended up being one of the videos that I'm probably the most proud of.